Alright everyone, I'm just dropping a quick reminder that I am on BitChute. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or other platforms, YouTube is about to unveil new TOS on, I believe, the 10th, the 17th or something. If you're not joining creators on other platforms, you can get left behind real soon. I don't think that there's actually going to be a YouTube purge. I've been explained what the new TOS is actually about, but you never know, it could be just a cover story. Anyway, we got to talk about Trump and impeachment. Trump has decided he and his lawyers, they're not even going to bother mounting a defense. They're not sending anybody. The Republicans will have a constitutional lawyer there. They're currently gathering material and preparing their own report to counter the Democrats' narrative. But Trump is sitting it out. Trump has said, look, I'm not even going to justify the proceedings by showing up. I'm not going to give testimony. I'm not going to myself call any witnesses. I'm not going to send lawyers there to oversee the process or anything. Number one, the House Democrats under Schiff have total control of the proceedings. So there's really no defense that you can make adequately because anything you do will be tied up in parliamentary procedure by Schiff. Number two, the proceedings are not going to lead to Trump's removal from office, so he doesn't need to defend against them. There's nothing for Trump to gain by showing up. All that will end up happening is that Schiff and his people will look for ways to pick away at it and make Trump look bad in the proceedings themselves. They'll try to cast Trump or his lawyers off as unhinged or dishonest, unscrupulous or something just by their presence. That'll happen. They become a target. If they're not there, they don't justify as well the proceedings, and that's number two. There's everything to be gained by not showing up. Trump is showing a stalwart face of defiance against the House Democrats, which have proclaimed now over and over, although it's lagging off a bit. Trump done goofed. Trump did bad. Orange man culpable. Orange man should be convicted of high crimes and misdemeanors. Although that bravado is beginning to wane, I think, and you can see it on Schiff's face day by day as well, as certainly the more sane Democrats in the room. Despite that fact, there's still an attempt to go forward and make Trump look bad, but if they don't have Trump or his lawyers there, it makes it look dismissive. What I think is this. Trump realizes the optics of the situation are way better, at least for his core fans, if he doesn't show up. And he says, look, it's a witch hunt. I'd call it a witch hunt. I'm not going to show up because that justifies its existence. I would be essentially participating in a process that I don't even say is legitimate. By stepping it out and not going by the way, what does this project insofar as Trump's expectations of the impeachment report that'll be issued? The Democrats will issue a report saying we found what we believe are misdoings that we believe he should be impeached for. The Republicans will issue a counter report saying there's nothing here that is legitimately impeachable. At the most, you're talking about censoring him. What will end up happening is that Trump will then tweet and say, no, there's nothing here. Here's the Republicans' report. I'm more popular than Abraham Lincoln, which is true in some metrics, and I'm not going anywhere, so fuck the impeachment report. And then it'll die. What'll happen is Pelosi is then faced with an ignominious choice with Schiff as her representative there in these proceedings. They can call an impeachment vote. There's a chance they don't even win at it. There's a chance that they literally lose because of vulnerable Democratic House members in red or swing districts in situations where some Democrat is a good old boy from the 50s or the 60s, a lifelong sort of politician, or a political figure from that sort of blue dog background. They might not vote for impeachment. All you need is like how many Democrats have to jump off in order to not even have an impeachment vote go through? Isn't it like half a dozen? It's not that many people. None of the Republicans are going to vote for impeachment in the House. If Pelosi calls a vote, she has to accept that there's a chance it fails and collapses and blows up in the Democrats' face like a goddamn stick of dynamite. If she does manage to get impeachment vote, okay, they impeach him, it goes to the Senate, it's DOA. Those are the choices the Dems have. It's a lose-lose situation. Trump is laughing right now because there's an election looming and he managed to force the Democrats through the far left that he easily manipulates just by his tweets, by the way, and that's exactly his operative strategy. These people are dumb and don't realize he's doing this, fiddling around in their brains, and forced an actual inquiry that was going to have meat and bones substance as opposed to being just a ghost. Initially, it was just, hey, we're going to ask questions of people and leak it to the press. We don't have to have Republicans in the room because it's not an official proceeding. Trump said, belly up to the bar, you want to impeach me? Open an inquiry, a real one in which our party can participate. Pelosi held off. You saw there for about 48 hours. She didn't know what to do. We got to be very careful about this. We got to know that there's some shit going on. Pelosi, little over a month ago, was saying, well, we're not going to impeach unless we got something to go on. They don't have anything to go on. The American people don't think so. Approval for impeachment now is below 50%. It's arguably stalled out further. It could be less popular than it is unpopular at the moment. Well, I guess that the inquiry in this report's not going to change the metric any further. Everyone's already made up their mind. Like, I've already made up my mind looking at the testimony that I saw, looking at the phone call transcripts, looking at the things I saw. I don't see anything for which if I was a sitting House of Representatives member, vote for impeachment. I would say, what do you expect me to do? You're saying that hearsay and opinion is supposed to sway me into casting a vote to remove the president from office, causing potential political chaos far beyond our own borders. No, I'm not going to vote for that. You do not need to be a Republican, I'm certainly not, or a conservative, I'm certainly not, or a Trump superfan, I'm definitely not, in order to understand the ramifications of a successful removal of a sitting U.S. president by forcing him to resign or actually kicking him out of office. Neither of which, by the way, is a credible scenario. There's no legitimacy to the proceedings. They've been cast off successfully by the Republicans, and this is largely strategic as partisan proceedings, number one. There's no proof of anything wrong, number two. The Ukrainian president came out the other day and again reiterated, I felt there was no quid pro quo. I don't understand what you people are doing. Every time that he comes out and says that, it undercuts the Democrats' narrative. The problem is this. The Democrats don't have to worry about some lifelong partisan far-left member voting the way they want. They'll all vote for impeachment. That's 90% of the party. What they have to worry about is down-ballot Democrats that are vulnerable. The House of Representatives, in the sense of the Democrats having retaken the House, they are extremely vulnerable. They've got dozens and dozens of seats they could potentially lose in this next election. If they're not careful, you could run into a situation where Trump manages to run out the clock and then the House ends up swinging back to the Republicans, and then impeachment dies anyway, even if they found something significant. If they want to keep doing the witch hunt thing, at the very least, they need to kick the can down the road past the election and maintain their House majority. Pelosi may be forced to stall these things out and tell Schiff to slow walk it to the finish line. Wouldn't that be interesting? Trump ends up winning re-election because the Democrats refuse to appease the far left. That coalition falls apart. And then they maintain the House, but then they don't have the capability of removing him because he won by a larger margin than before and has a mandate or something. Trump's already got them corralled, and they don't even realize it. They think they've got him surrounded. And he just ducks down and they shoot each other, I suppose. Friendly fire. I believe that multiple Democrats in the House will defect on the impeachment vote if it's held. I suspect that will happen. The Republicans will seize upon that. They will run ads against any Democrat in a red or swing district that votes for it, and they will knock them all out. Most of them will lose. And then it'll become you'll have a referendum 2020 election. The problem is the Democrats will have taken defeat from the jaws of victory instead of having an election that's a referendum on Trump, which would be a long shot anyway because of a good economy, by the way. Instead of that, they have a referendum on House Democrats down ballot that Trump can run on. Running against Congress is a really good idea because Congress is never as popular as even the most unpopular presidents. In his darkest hours, post-Katrina, Bush wallowing around in the low 30s in approval, he was still more popular than the House of Representatives. People have got to understand this. The legislature is always less popular than the executive branch. With the executive branch, the one person that's there can boil down to partisan politics, but with the House, oftentimes a Democrat will hate most Democrats in the House too. A Republican will hate most of the Republican senators. There's a few that they like, usually their own. That's about it. I suspect that impeachment is going nowhere fast. It's getting less and less likely that the Democrats will even dare to hold an impeachment vote. Well, my goodness, I guess you're just handing Trump the re-election bid then. Who the fuck is going to go up against him? You can't even remove him from office. None of these people have bothered to form a platform unless it's socialistic. And a socialistic platform is not going to win either. That's about all. Peace out.